What is going on, everyone, and welcome to the Philly Frenzy podcast. I am your host, Matt. As always, I'm here with my buddy Rob on his birthday. What is going on, Rob?
Not much, man. Getting ready for this big UFC card tonight.
All right, real quick before we get into this, how much did you pay UFC to give us a card this good on your birthday?
Dude, I wish I paid them. If I had that kind of money, I
um,
would be enjoying my birthday probably at the fight if I had that kind of money. What a card, though, man. Three title fights tonight is what we're going to touch on the most because that's what, most of y'all are going to really care about. But a heck of a card, including some of the other fights that we're not going to cover, are going to be very good. I think the first fight we should touch on is going to be the what I call the third main tonight, the third co-main, and that's Jan versus Sterling for the bantamweight championship. Uh, you got Peter Yan has got a really strong boxing and Muay Thai striking background. Um, Sterling is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background, so you got conflicting styles in this one. Or one guy's gonna want to keep it upright in a striking battle. The other guy's gonna try and get it to the ground. So it should be an exciting fight. Anything you want to touch on this one, real quick, Matt?
Sterling has I don't know if I could say huge, but he's got a 4-inch reach advantage, and I think that might help him um, a lot more than you would usually see with that big of with them both being 5'7" and him having that big of a reach advantage, like that 4-inch reach advantage. I feel like it's gonna help him a lot more, especially with him wanting to go to the ground. Like I just feel like that's gonna give him the advantage, and I understand that Yan's coming in as the title holder, but I don't know. It's just to me looking at this. Yeah, Jan's 15-1 and Sterling's 19-3. But if I was betting, I mean, I'm putting all my money on Sterling just for the reach purpose. I mean, I know it kind of sounds stupid, but you see
It's not necessarily
you see the
stupid,
reach
but
usually plays a huge part in fights. So
look, I mean, you can't call it stupid when early. I don't know if the what the odds have shifted to, but early in the week, this was a -110 on both sides fight from Vegas. So this is something where Vegas believes the fight could go either way. Um, Peter Yan won this title after it was vacated by Henry Cejudo.
okay,
So he didn't technically beat the champion. What happened was when Cejudo retired, they had Peter Yan versus Jose Aldo, and he beat um, Aldo for the title. Now, Peter Yan has looked really good even up to that point, and defeating a guy like Jose Aldo is, you know, no walk in the park. Jose Aldo is one of the best bantamweights of all time, um, and a former champion himself. So the reach advantage, I think, it can help Sterling, but he's got to be able to get inside while avoiding the striking game of Peter Yan. But if he can get the fight to the ground, he has a huge advantage, I think, down there with his wrestling and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu based background. Um, the other thing with Peter Yan, one thing that is a little different about him, not all guys can do. He is a switch fighter, so he will switch stances usually multiple times during a fight, and is comfortable fighting as a southpaw or orthodox fighter. But he's absolutely got to keep this fight on the feet, so it's going to rely heavily on his ability to defend Sterling's attempts at takedowns. It's like we said. I mean, you're going Sterling. If I was betting, I'd put my money on Peter Yan right now. The dude's just red hot, and I gotta see somebody beat him before I would want to bet against him. In all honesty, um, now the actual co-main on this card is the women's fight between Amanda Nunes and Anderson. Um, that's for the women's featherweight championship that Nunes has held for a while now. I mean, Amanda Nunes is just an absolute monster. In my opinion, she's the best women's UFC fighter of all time, even though she's still active. Um, she's on a 11 fight win streak right now. She's just so dominant and so scary powerful in her striking. I mean, this is a girl that was she was the first 2 division champion as a woman, and she was the first fighter that was not only a 2 division champion but defended both titles at 2 different weights. So it wasn't like a situation where she was the 135 champ and moved up and dropped the lower belt. She held on. She was defending both, which is impressive. But she's fighting Anderson. The girl's only on a 2-fight win streak. She's been a champion, Anderson, in other fight companies at this weight. So I mean, she's no slouch. She's 11-4. 6 of her 11 wins are by knockout, 3 by sub. So I mean, she finishes fights. She does have a height and reach advantage on Nunes. Nunes is 5'8", 69-inch reach listed. Anderson is listed as 6 foot with a 72-inch reach. So we'll have to see if that plays a factor. I mean, I've seen Amanda Nunes fight people bigger than her before, so it's...
I have a question real quick. Now, you know, I don't really watch UFC like this. I mean, well, I watch it. I just don't know that much about it compared to you. Do you happen to know why this fight got pushed back 3 cards?
Off the top of my head, I don't actually know why this got pushed back 3 cards, but the most likely reasons are usually either an injury in camp and both sides decided it was okay to push it back. Because otherwise, sometimes they'll just have a replacement fighter. It also could have been that they decided to push this back to make room for a different fight on the card that they were originally supposed to go on due to like a scheduling conflict. I've seen that happen before, but I'm not 100% sure why this one was necessarily pushed back.
Now, could this have been pushed back because the card that they were going to be on just wasn't that good? Has that ever happened?
I mean, it's possible. I wouldn't see it though, because any card that's going to get headlined by Amanda Nunes is going to draw eyes. He's one of the top, athletes in the sport. So, but they may have just wanted to set up this super card too that they set up.
That's kind of what it looks like right now, because I'm
to this particular card. But you never know. I mean, I'm not gonna tell Dana White how to do his job. He's one of the best fight promoters of all time. So
it actually kind of looks that way, because when you look at this 256 lineup, there's another one on this card at 259 that was supposed to happen in UFC 256 with Peter Yan and Sterling fighting for the title.
Yeah.
So this could have been like let's make a super card, like you're stating. That could have possibly happened. I mean, I was just trying to do a little bit of quick research, try to catch a couple things that we hadn't talked about yet, just to see where, if you knew some things on why stuff like that was moved from 56 up to 59.
Yeah, I knew that the fights had gotten moved, but I didn't really see anything kind of highlighting a direct reason why.
Okay.
But it would make sense that they were just trying to push them on with the Adesanya and card and get because Peter Yan and I mean even Nunes, for as good as Amanda Nunes is and how dominant she's been, she doesn't. I personally don't think she draws as well as she should. Um, I don't know why that is. That she's not as big of a draw, but right now, Izzy Adesanya is probably the biggest draw in the sport.
Mm-hmm.
So putting two of your champions that maybe aren't that household name like Adesanya yet on a card with Adesanya will get more eyes on them and hopefully allow them to be better headliners than they already are.
Gotcha.
I could see that reason too. So for this fight, who would you take? Knowing the stat lines, kind of.
Well, I've seen Nunez fight, and there's no way I put money against her. A lot of the things you were saying, I completely agree with. She probably is the best woman fighter of right now and possibly of all time. What she did, I'm not sure. Was it the last fight when she fought Cyborg for the belt? The way she controlled that fight and she held her own, and like Cyborg's not a pushover. For somebody to walk in there and just like completely take over the fight the way she did, I don't know, this girl Anderson. It's not like jumping off the page to me to say, all right, let me put my money on her. Yeah, the 700 odds in Vegas might get you to say that, but I don't think anybody's actually sitting there going, I put the odds are 700. I put money on Anderson actually winning this fight.
Yeah, Anderson's plus 700 dog, and Nunes is a minus 1100 favorite to win this fight. If you are trying to make some quick money, if you throw a small sum on Anderson and she pulls off what I would consider one of the biggest upsets in UFC history, you can make some money. Do I think she's going to do it? Absolutely not. I would bet the house on Amanda Nunes tonight if I was betting that fight. And then transitioning real quick to wrap this up to the main event, the fight everybody's here to see is Jan Blachowicz, the current light heavyweight champion, versus Izzy Adesanya, the current middleweight champion, who is quote-unquote moving up for this fight, even though he has stated he will not put on any weight for this fight, so he is going to fight at a weight disadvantage.
First round knockout.
Adesanya is 20-0 in the UFC with 15 knockouts. He's, for those who don't know, he is a former world-class kickboxer, one of the best. He was one of the best guys at his weight in kickboxing. He also had a boxing career as well. Right now, I think he has the best striking game probably in the entire sport of mixed martial arts. And he reminds me a lot of Anderson Silva. Is a guy he gets compared to him all the time, but if you've watched both guys, it's very clear that they do have a lot of similarities, much like Silva. And Adesanya's ability to counterpunch and his incredible head movement and avoiding shots are two of the things that have made him so dominant. So he, on top of that, he has great takedown defense. In this fight, he's got a 2-inch reach advantage and a 2-inch height advantage over Blachowicz, which combined with his striking is why I would put money on him. Not that Blachowicz is a pushover. He's a great fighter. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He beat Dominic Reyes to pick up this title that was vacated by John Jones, who went to heavyweight. I I think Blachowicz, even though he's a pretty balanced fighter, um, his advantage is going to be on the ground, so that's where he needs to get this fight to take a win. But this is another one I would not bet against Adesanya. I'm
Bet
taking the
Adesanya.
favorite.
Bet him 2 minutes into the fight. Adesanya knockout. Everyone that's listening to this stream, don't come back on Monday and tell me that I owe you money, but do it because I think he has the opportunity to win this within 2 minutes of the first round.
I will say that this fight, I'm going to say it probably goes to a decision. I think Blachowicz is good enough to take it to a decision, but Adesanya will win a unanimous decision victory. But with that, I mean, that kind of wraps up the coverage. Fights are on a little while here, so we'll get to watch and see what happens.
Yeah, so you guys know how this works. It's Fast Forward Saturday this week. We're just covering UFC fights. We're not sure if there's a card next week. I will do some research and let everyone know on Monday if we will have any kind of UFC coverage next week. But on Monday, Rob and I will be in. Rob will talk UFC. I'll sit here, nod my head, say a few words, and act like I know what I'm talking about, even though I will watch the fights. But, you know, until Monday, when we have Rewind Monday, just remember I told you bet the house that the fight will be done within 2 minutes with Adesanya winning. And bash me on Twitter and bash me in the Twitch comment section if it does not happen. But if it happens, everyone, my Cash App is Jimmer Swag. Just send me a $2 donation if you guys win $1 million. It will go a long way. But you know, until Monday, we do actually have an episode tomorrow with Johnny Red in 2K. I believe that's set for 12 o'clock. I have to double check, make sure that is actually correct. Also, for anybody that's into NBA Top Shot, we got a $200 pack dropping tomorrow. Rising Stars, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Don't sit in the queue, please. I want to actually get another pack. But until then, Philly Frenzy out.